Hello, Air Warriors. Welcome to another episode of Chevrons, the podcast for the enlisted force. I'm Chief Sullivan.
And I'm A1C, Francesca Skradulis. Today, we are very excited. We have some awesome guests here. Chief Master Sgt. Christopher Hirl, the Command Chief of the 102nd Intelligence Wing, here right from our very own Otis in Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
And we also have Sergeant DeAndre Floyd from the Space Force. And I am really interested in this episode. As we put these episodes together, we sometimes come across a theme that both guests have that really add to being able to put together a good question set. And it dawned on us the other day when we were pairing this episode up that we have a brand new command chief going into a new position. So there's transition there and all the excitement, all the things that you're going to be encountering. And then we have Sergeant Floyd, who not only is going into a new position, is going into a position in a brand new service component, the Space Force. So I think we're going to have a lot of crosstalk on all the challenges and all the excitement and all the things that you're dealing with as you merge into these new ventures. So to start, let's have you both tell us a bit about yourself, your military story, and what your current positions are going to entail. And Sergeant Floyd, I want to start with you.
Okay, yeah. So I am stand eval for 6 Swiss, the 6th Space Warning Squadron. I've been in space for quite a while now. I actually cross-trained into space back in 2011. I originally came in as an aircraft maintainer. And I'm happy to be here. Space has been an awesome gig for me. I've had quite a bit of assignments. So 2 SOPs, 11 Swiss, 12 Swiss, and now currently at 6 Swiss. And I couldn't have asked for a better job to cross train into.
How many years of service time did you say you have?
14.
14. So how many years were you in the actual Air Force component serving in a Space Force mission? And how long have you been transitioned now into the Space Force?
Yes, sir. So I joined in 2007 and I cross-trained in 2011. So I've been in space for 10 years and I was in the Air Force for 4. Well, I guess technically in the Air Force for all the way up until the transition to go into the Space Force.
Right. And did you notice any changes, or when you made the transition from pretty much just changing the name plates on your uniform? What other changes did you notice as you changed from United States Air Force to United States Space Force? What was any new cultural swings?
I don't think so. I think it's been pretty seamless going from the Air Force to the Space Force. There haven't been, at least from my perspective, there hasn't been any major changes. I think we're still trying to figure it out right now. We've only been at it for a short time, and we're still trying to figure out, who's actually gonna, be in charge of what, where's funding gonna go, and all that kind of stuff. So I think as of right now, everything is still kind of, we rely on the Air Force to get all of our stuff done. Like if we're in process and route processing, we still use security forces, Air Force members. So for the most part, it's been pretty seamless, except for the obvious uniform changes and the slight name changes, but everything else has been the same for the most part.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Cool. And then Chief Hirl, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you come from? Where are you going? What you doing?
Good morning, everybody. As of this past October, I hit 36 years in the Massachusetts Air National Guard. That really, brings home a lot of changes. I started out in working on the F-15s, and I worked in all the different avionics shops, so avionics flight line, the PMEL, the calibration lab, and then I ended up working in the avionics test stations, which is the back shop, working on all the radar warning receiver boxes and radar and all that. And then during, BRAC, they took our planes away and gave us the intel mission. And for me, that was came with a lot of great opportunities. And I've really enjoyed myself since then. I've worked up my way up through an intelligence analyst, through to supervising full motion video crews, to working as a flight chief, and then a squadron superintendent, and now I get to be the wing command chief, and I'm really excited about that role.
Cool, thank you. I just wanted to hop back to Sergeant Floyd. I guess this was just my own, I don't know, ignorance or not knowing. You cross-trained in 2011 for the Space Force? Like, I had no idea that started so long ago.
Well, so into the Air Force Space Command.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I might have misspoke. So yeah, I cross-trained into Air Force Space Command from avionics.
All right, I'm with you now, but that's still really cool.
Oh, you were an avionics troop too?
Yes, sir. So I heard you say that, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, like
What-
it's good to have fellow F-15 brethren.
Oh, F-15
On the
nonetheless
line,
too.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that is great.
Oh boy, had I known two F-15 avionics folks, I would have tried to schedule this for 2 hours. Now you guys just play crosstalk and catch up.
Yeah.
I have something leading into you, Chief Hirl, and this goes back to when you took your position. And myself and General Gaglio were sitting there, and we were listening to your assumption, and you brought up the 3 Ps. You had a pledge, a promise, and a plea. And I remember the general and I looking at each other and going, wow. And I'm trying to use my memory bank now, but if I remember correctly, your pledge was that you would help empower all your airmen and make sure that they wanted to achieve all that they desired. You basically said that you were going to pave the road, which I thought was really great. And then you had a promise, and that you were going to empower your airmen and make sure that they felt safe and secure in their work centers. And I remember you said something about the enemy is out there and not here, which we loved. You talked about having to compete with China and Russia, and your promise was that you were going to be their champion and not tolerate any narrow-mindedness. And I loved that. But here's the one that that impacted me the most: your plea. You told them that you were going to do their part to bring the tools of empowerment, to build your councils, and to support events and advocate, but it was all for naught if they weren't engaged. And you had a line that I wrote down right after your speech, that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, I pledge to provide clean water and shiny new cups to drink from. That was some pretty awesome stuff. I know you've only been in office for a very, very short period of time. But how are the 3 Ps going? How is it resonating through your wing already?
Chief, thank you for the kind words from my assumption speech. I think that a lot of that was carried over from my time as the president of the Chiefs Council, right? The Otis Chiefs Advisory Council. I think we started a lot of initiatives. You were a part of them, right? The enlisted force development push that we've been making lately. You know, I reflect back on that speech, and even as I was making it, and I said to myself, like, I don't want to be all words, right? I want to be action, not just words. I don't want to say a lot of good words and then not back it up with action. So I am, and my team and everybody around us, like, we're trying really hard to make all of that a reality. I've tried to, as I get settled in the new office and the transition, I'm trying to get out amongst the wing, right, and establish that presence and let everybody know, that I'm in their corner, that I'm fighting for them, and that, I really want to, that I'm on their side, really, and that I want to empower them. And from all my experiences with all the airmen that I've seen through our wing, that's what they want too, right? I'm helping to provide something that I know that they want. And then, so we did our enlisted force development briefs, right? We kind of kicked it all off there. We're doing a series of why and how briefs. This drill weekend, we're kicking off a series that we'll have in the, on the shelf to use a lot. But basically, it's a more in-depth look at China and Russia. And then discusses how all the different groups work together to face that challenge. And we're going to follow that up starting in February. We talk a lot about our campus culture. And so we're going to try to bring a wide variety of classes, right, in all different areas, from historical to empowerment to diversity. And then some fun things too, right? I don't know, a wide variety of classes we want to bring and offer during a drill weekend as time allows. So still in the early stages. I need to get out there more. I know we're going to be at the gate saying hello to our airmen on Saturday morning. So I think that's my biggest challenge in the short term, is to make sure I get out there. And then longer term, making sure that I'm delivering or helping to deliver those tools that our airmen actually want and are going to use.
You make me so jealous of A1C Scadulis, because I want to change positions with you right now and be part of all that. That just sounds like a really, really great template. You have my support 1,000%, and anything that you need from our end or our office, we're here to support that. That's some good stuff.
Our wing appreciates that. Thank you.
And I have to be honest, Chief Sullivan, it is really exciting to have, someone at the top here that you really align with, like, hey, this is really cool that that's what they're working on, because it matters to me. So I feel lucky too.
I would say, as this is a podcast for the masses, right? Like, me operating in a vacuum isn't going to get it done. Like, that was the whole part of, like, airmen being engaged. I need help, right? I need people that want to help make this happen. The Rising Six in the top 3 have been fantastic. And I know they're under great leadership right now. And I know that they're going to continue to be engaged. And I just want to see, if I'm up here trying to make things up on my own, we're not going to get where we need to be.
But that's why I loved how you had those 3 Ps. You put it out there, what you were going to provide them. You made a promise, and then you asked for that assistance, because you can't go at it alone. I just thought that was so well laid out. And I think the 102nd is in really great hands. It has a really, really great future. But now we have to get back to the Space Force. I have a question for you, Sergeant Floyd.
Yes, sir.
What was one of the most challenging events that you had to deal with in both your transition from going from a F-15 avionics mechanic into Space Command, which is about as geometrically opposing as going from an F-15 avionics into an intel field? So what were some challenges that you had with that? And what were some challenges with transitioning into the Space Force from Air Force Space Command? I'm sure not as daunting as going from avionics mechanic to full-blown Space Command. But what were some of the challenges?
It's actually a really good question. So as you said, going from, a maintainer to, a completely different career field, it's night and day. Everything, just from the environment to, just a complete acronym change, just to, the way that people interact with each other. Like when you're on the flight line, you're around your peers, your leadership is, chiefs and below. When you are working in a space or, like an operations environment, you're working side by side with, officers. Like on a day-to-day basis, I'm working with, lieutenants and captains, talking directly to the DO and the commander about, important issues that we have going on in the squadron. So I think the level of just the difference of your peers, like what we deem to identify as your peers, that was like the biggest challenge crossing into space. But going from, Air Force Space Command to the actual Space Force, I think one of the biggest things, at least for me, as we crossed over, there was a noticeable change for enlisted folks to actually, step up and take accountability for the programs that we have going on. It's no longer like, hey, I can just sit here and, kind of just be led by, whoever, like we actually have to step up to the plate and work at the same pace / same level as our officer peers. So that was a little bit of a challenge, for enlisted folks, for going into the Space Force, and then like I said, going from avionics to Air Force Space Command. That was night and day. Yeah, I can probably talk all day about about the differences between the two.
I'm sure. Thank you.
So this question is kind of for all three of you. We've said several times already, you're kind of all in new positions relatively. The Space Force being a new sort of label. But just with the labels that you all now have, Command Chief of the Wing, Command Chief of the State, there's kind of like a lot of pressure, I feel, or I would feel, even just to be, it seems kind of prestigious, When you start in the military, it's the profession of arms, It's like you're holding that title. And there's kind of like a lot of assumptions that go around it, even just with the public, even within where you are. Do you guys feel that pressure? Like, being at the top or just being in that prestigious new category?
I can start.
I'll take.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No,
go ahead, Chief.
No, I was just going to say I'm just going to take a first swing at this. I feel it more in the peripheral, like more in the background, but I feel more excitement every single day because I do this because I love airmen. Anybody who's been around me for 5 minutes can just see my attitude whenever I'm around airmen. And attitude is the force multiplier. So the more airmen I can be around, the more I can affect change, the more that I can work with our leadership at the highest levels, the more excited I am coming to work every day. You are all my mojo. You guys are my magic. You are all what I love to do. And I also know that this is my swan song. I have a very, very finite time at this. So I don't really, it's still probably a little surreal. It still hasn't come to full circle that I am at the position that I am. All I see is that I get to be around more airmen. I get to go to 2 wings now. I get to try to do more stuff and just try to work with great leaders, like Chief Hirl and Chief Barbie, the command chief over at the 104th. I get to hang out with some of the greatest airmen in the world, like my co-host here, and my civilian counterparts like Tim. And I also get to seek out and talk to other people in a joint force, like our Space Force people. So I guess it just something that I kind of identify that I am in that position, but I am just so excited and enthusiastic about being with the airmen that it just kind of transitions quickly. Chief Hirl, I knew you were about to say something. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to get my 2 cents out quick.
No, that's fantastic, Chief. I think for me, when I transitioned from avionics to Intel, I personally experienced an explosion of opportunity. Right, I was there at the at the beginning of switching to the Intel mission, and that allowed me the opportunity to be at the leading edge of change for many years now. And I want to see that all of our airmen have those same opportunities that I had, right? I had so many years of great mentorship and quality people around me and opportunities. And I think that's probably, if I have any kind of concern about my performance as the command chief, I want to make sure, I'm constantly questioning myself. Am I doing enough? Am I getting, am I doing the right things to help our airmen succeed? Because like you, I'm also in my swan song. I have 3.5 years to go. And my main goal is to leave the 102nd Intelligence Wing a better place than when I found it. So that's what I judge myself against every day. And yes, sometimes it can get a little stressful, right? Because sometimes you feel like you're maybe not doing enough, but then that's an opportunity to look at what you are doing and reevaluate and reattack and refocus yourself. So that's kind of where I'm at.
I think for us, from what I've seen, our people have been pretty enthusiastic to take on this challenge of creating a new branch. The list of things that we have to do was endless. I've seen A1Cs, well, specialists, 1, 2, 3, right, all the way up to lieutenant colonels give their all to try to make the Space Force what we want it to be. So I think it's a little bit less of being nervous and more of people trying to take on this challenge. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be like that for the next couple years. People are still going to come in and try to solve this this Rubik's cube of creating the Space Force.
Cool, thank you. So it's really like the identity kind of becomes like the permission to really go for it. Like you guys aren't in these positions for no reason. You're there because you're gonna make change and get it done.
And we're developing our bench, so you're right behind us. One question I have for both of you, Chief Hirl and Sergeant Floyd, is you obviously have had opportunities outside staying in the military, being either AGR or full-time active duty, Title 32, all these different positions that you've held. What has driven you to stay in uniform as opposed to taking your skills and going elsewhere? And I'll start with Sergeant Floyd.
Well, the opportunities that we get in the Space Force are incredible. So kind of like what the chief said when he crossed into Intel, like there's just opportunities for days. Um, there's some assignments, there's some things that I've done that I never would have imagined doing in like an outside career field. So I'm here to see what the Space Force is willing to become. Um, yeah, because the possibilities are endless. It seems like every year, like there's some new program that we're doing. Constantly, there's new squadrons being stood up. People are going TDY all the time to make everything better. Like I just went TDY not that long ago to write some Space Force doctrine, which I never thought I would be doing. So like I'm just here to see what we can create and hopefully like I want to make an impact and uh, they've given us the opportunity to lead. Like me as an E5, like I have the opportunity to step up and take a leadership role and uh, be a vocal piece in the entire puzzle. So yeah, I think it's more of just curiosity and I also want to make an impact, not just on myself, but on the airmen that I have under me.
Absolutely loved that. That here is a sergeant in a brand new service component that's helping shape things that was empowered to help write policy. That is how you empower airmen and air warriors. That and space warriors. That's fantastic that you had that opportunity to do that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And Chief?
Well, I think the 102nd is my family, right? She's cared for me. She's fed me. She's taken care of, she's educated me. She's educated my son. You don't walk out on your family. There's no way that I'm leaving Otis until I'm done. And I want to give back. It's my turn it's my turn to help lead the family and, help all those airmen the way that I was helped coming up. So there's no way I'm going anywhere.
Love it.
My question here, I just want to start right off with Sergeant Floyd. How has the Space Force, and I guess you can look at it, both of our guests here, from transitioning with your commands, how do you create that like healthy, supportive culture for your airmen? So how have you seen it happen, and then how are you helping it to move along that way?
So I think the overall culture for space in general. So we are trying to build space professionals. So what that means to each individual is different. but overall, we still need to have people that are doing what they need to do on a daily basis. So, for example, Six Swiss, they are really good at giving people assignments and letting them just run wild with it. Like, hey, you do what you have to do, create a product, bring it back to us. As long as it makes sense, then we can. This is something that we can go with. Yeah, I think the space professional path is not even just Six Swiss. It's everywhere that I've been. Um, some squadrons are different. That's kind of the weird thing about space. Everywhere you go, it's a little bit different. Um, so it's kind of hard to say that, hey, this is the exact culture.
Definitely.
It really just boils down to who is your leadership, um, uh, and and not just up top, right? So your top three, but who is your leadership when it comes to, like, the chief of training, the chief of operations, the chief of evaluations. Like, those are the people that are actually making the impact on the squadron itself. So when you have these smaller squadrons that are a little bit more tight knit, the culture tends to be a little bit better. Um, but even in the larger squadrons, they're really not that big. So our leadership, allowing people to do what they need to do and get things done, and being professional about it, I think that's going to be our our marching path for at least the next couple years, until we can actually come together and decide, like, hey, this is what we actually want to do. And everyone needs to do it, you know what I mean? But for right now, everything is kind of separated, just because each squadron is drastically different. But um, over time, we'll get something a little bit more concrete.
Right. It's all a melting pot right now, I guess. Chief, how's the culture here? How did we create it, or what do you want to change?
Well, I think we don't. I think we have no choice but to be innovative, adaptive, and empowered. Like General Brown says, an accelerator change. If we're going to compete against our adversaries, right, modern day adversaries, we have no choice but to empower our airmen. So that's where I'm coming from, right? That's the culture that I'm trying to build. We're trying to build it through education and all of leadership on the same page, and which I think I think our airmen throughout the wing and our squadrons and groups do a fantastic job of that. And so my goal over the next couple of years is just to kind of bring us together, get us in that warrior mindset, get us so that we're all on the same page of empowerment and being able to think on your feet and have some flexibility to shape your mission, right? Shape what you're doing and how you do it, and you have a receptive audience when you come up with ideas. So that's kind of the culture that we're trying to foster.
All right, I want to address the next question to both of you, because you've both had fairly long and distinguished careers, respectively. And we have a lot of first-term airmen out that listen to our podcast, particularly the E1 through E3 ranks, that are still trying to get their mojo, still trying to figure their drive, and still trying to maintain motivation. And they come on our podcast and they listen to people like you, Sergeant Floyd, with 12 plus years in, and you're motivated and you're ready to change the world. And Chief Hirl, elevated to the highest position, enlisted position in the wing, and truly motivated and committed person. What are some tools that you've used to maintain your motivation throughout your career, from your earliest points of enlistment all the way up through now? Sergeant Floyd, you're on the spot. I'll go with you first.
All right. Yeah, so I would encourage folks to not give up, to keep trying. I know for me, there's been plenty of times in my career where I've tried to push up an idea or some type of program, or maybe something that I created that I thought was a really good idea, and it got shot down. And that's just something that happens. And I think a lot of especially space folks, they come in, they they want to change the world, they want to do all these things, and then they end up getting out because they come in, they get their clearance, and then they end up using their talent somewhere else. So I think for if I had to tell our people one thing, like, hey, like uh, just stay with it, just stick with it. It does get better, and I think if I were king for a day, I would encourage our leaders to give our lower level folks more pats on the back. I think that's at least for me, that's something that uh, if you get told no 10 times, but the 11th time somebody is like, hey, this is a great idea, good job, Sergeant Floyd, like that's something to me that feels really special. So I would encourage our lower enlisted folks to just keep trying, keep pushing. If you get denied, just shake it off and keep going. And I would encourage our leadership to encourage our lower folks to do more, and be more creative, be more bold, step outside of the box every now and then.
I like it. Chief?
I think, there's a lot of people that just come in to mark time sometimes, right? I know I've been guilty of it at different points in my career. But I think if you just come in and you try to, if you're looking to improve the unit, improve yourself, right? I think that makes the whole experience a lot more rewarding for everyone. And even if you're trying to, some big ideas aren't necessarily going through the way that you hope, that doesn't mean you can't improve your immediate people around you, your peers, right? You could help your peers. You could help the airmen below you make their experience better, help them to succeed. For myself, that's kind of always been my thing. Like, what can I do to make myself better? What can I do to help the airmen around me? What can I help to do the squadron? And as I go up in ranks, I've had the opportunity to be able to, expand that horizon, if that makes sense. So I think to me that makes it rewarding when I look forward to coming to work, because I know I'm going to, try to affect some change, some positive change. And I see a lot of people, they have ideas, and then that's it, right? So they need the follow through. They need the persistence. If one person tells you no, take the feedback. What do you need to change, right? What needs to be adapted, and keep going back to it. So my advice for people would be, if you've got great ideas, like try to work on your ideas and have persistence and keep going after it. And you're going to succeed, and you're going to make this wing a better place. Just takes time.
Wonderful. I wanted to touch a little bit on enlisted development. We've got people here in a range of positions. So we'll start off, Sergeant Floyd. What does enlisted development look like for you where you are? I know you said you have a lot of opportunities, but is there anything that you would share with people in other units, other squadrons, with us over here at Otis or anywhere else? What works, or what would you suggest to further that enlisted development?
I would say to the members themselves to seek opportunities. There's always something that people can be doing, and opportunities are going to come to you. You have to go to them. Explore, talk to people, make those connections. A lot of things that I've done in my career, I was set up for success because I had the right connections. I knew the right people, and they put in a good word for me. So I would definitely encourage people to continue to make those strong bridges with not even just people in your own career field, but people outside of your career field. So like when you go to ALS, when you go to NTOA, when you go to these different PMEs, I would really advise them to spend the extra time to talk to the folks and be genuinely interested in what they have going on, because you never know when you can use them down the road. Just be great leaders. I know that's a random thing to say, but personally, I think what a great leader means is you can be someone that can lead a horse to water or whatever, but you also need to be a good follower. You need to engage in listening to other folks and allowing people to, having the courage to let folks take control and let them do what they have to do and help them. Like we're a team. This is not a one-man show. We're all in this together. So, enlisted development for yourself is also enlisted development for the people that are around you.
I love it.
Well said.
Yeah, Chief Hirl, enlisted development. I know you're heavily involved in our process here, but besides just getting the word out that enlisted development is a thing, what do you want from our members here, or what's working? What would you share with other wings?
That's a good question. It's going to be hard to top Sergeant Floyd's answer on this. I think, from my perspective and from, where I am right now, I think my role is to provide the tools necessary to help our airmen to become more developed, right? But moreover, to provide hey, this is why we need to change and this is how we're going to get there. Right? So the overall guidance, the overall drive, the overall impetus to make this happen, right? And so, as I said before, in our wing in particular, I think all the groups do a good job at it, but they're all doing it sort of differently. So my vision over the next couple of years is to bring that together and what's good from this group and that group and take all the good parts and put them together and share them with our airmen, provide our airmen opportunities. And I think Sergeant Floyd said it, like the airmen have to come up and take those opportunities that are there for them and seek them out, right? So I am going to try my hardest to make sure those opportunities are available so those eager airmen that come up and they want to be more rewarded in their time here have a chance to express themselves, have a chance to make their ideas count. I'm a strong proponent of the Top 3 Council and the Rising 6 Council and the Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion Council. Like, I will support those until the day that I die. And I hope our airmen, right, I think they're a great avenue for our airmen to make change and to, provide developmental opportunities for themselves. So that's kind of how I'm going about it over my term. And I know all of our wing leadership is on board. And, if we have some holdouts out there, we'll work on them, right? But I think we don't really have a choice, I don't think, with the enemies that we face today and the missions that we have today. Everybody needs to be smart, well-educated, adaptable, empowered, flexible, right? Able to shift. And so, I'm going to try to bring those tools to the wing as much as I can.
Thank you. Chief Sullivan, and then I wanted to get your perspective too, coming from maybe a larger umbrella. What is providing those tools to us? What is enlisted development from your point of view? What does that look like? How are you helping?
Well, the first part of enlisted development at the strategic level is getting people to understand that it is it's basically a professional development. You're trying to develop yourself professionally on all sides and all ways, from the squadron level to the group level to the wing level, etc. It's individual units and sections have to determine what their institutional competencies are that are important to them to provide that direction of what needs to be developed. That the first thing you have to do is you have to have the map and the compass. You need to know what the direction is that you need to go, what's important. So there's kind of like two aspects of it. There's that personal development, that always striving to be a better airman, always striving to know your craft better, those individual things that you're trying to work on at all times and all the way through your career, and those institutional things. So I think that the biggest aspect that we need to do on the strategic level is to make sure airmen from the squadron all the way up to the state level understand what those competencies are. What is that direction? What is important? What do we value? Because if you don't know what's valued, if you don't know what's important, then you don't necessarily know what you need to work on. So we're going to be making strides to cross-reference that. It's already happening at the 102nd. They're already determining what's important in each group versus another group. They're working on a comprehensive enlisted development plan where you're taking charge of your own development as well as what your individual squadron, group, wing, and state value. And we're going to be working in the future to find out where those crossovers are for a Air National Guardsman in the state, and as well as what competencies are important for a National Guardsman, because we are a joint force. We are the National Guard. We have an Army component and we have an air component. So we're going to be working really hard at finding out what competencies cross over on both the air and the Army side, and start merging together and working those things together, adding more joint into our professional development as we go. So that's some of the things that we're looking at this level.
Cool. It's kind of neat. You all kind of said like different components of the same thing, but just a little differently.
Thank goodness. We're all on the same page.
Must be something to it then. I did have one final question. I know we're getting close to wrapping up our podcast, and I just did want to get one more question out here, and that is, I want a fun fact on both of you. I want to know something about Sergeant Floyd and something about Chief Hirl. A little fun fact that maybe nobody else knows about you. A little bit about your personality, just something fun. Starting with you, Sergeant Floyd, give me a little fun fact. What's a Sergeant Floyd non-military fun fact about you?
I see snowboards there behind you.
Oh man, I don't know. We might have to come back. I think we might have to start off with the chief here.
That's fine. I'll bail you out.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know
Appreciate
how well kept of a secret it is, but my passion is flying. I have a private airplane, and I love flying. That's my fun fact for the day.
Whoa.
And having flown with you, you are a very accomplished pilot.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting us there safely and back safely.
Yeah.
Oh man, fun fact. I don't know.
Let's go with the snowboards in the back. Are those snowboards hanging on the back of your ladder?
Yeah. So it is. So I guess that could be my fun fact. I do like to do a lot of adrenaline styled things. So skydiving, I've been like 7 or 8 times. Snowboarding, motorcycle rider. Like if it goes fast, then it's for me. So yeah, random fun fact.
Have you ever done the 4 lenses?
So I have.
And let me guess, you are an orange personality.
I am an orange. Yeah,
all right.
All the way.
There we go. There we go.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here.
I think we can end it with any final comments from each of our guests, anything that they wanted to put out that they didn't have the opportunity to, or thought would be asked, or anything else you guys wanted to get out.
I think, thank you very much for having us on this podcast. I hope that this helps get the word out to our airmen that we're, thinking of them and that we want to help them succeed. I would just say any airmen in our wing that are listening, like people say it's kind of a cliche of an open door, but I feel like I'm very approachable. Please come and talk to me at any time. I'm not, that you want. I'd be happy to talk to anybody at any time.
Yeah. So this has been great. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk with y'all. This has been really fun. I'm always trying to recruit people to the Space Force. So if you have any questions, please come talk to me. I will. I'm the only Floyd on Cape Cod, so send me an email and I'll try to recruit you over. So.
Sergeant Floyd, I am trying to, I would like to do some joint educational ventures. I've been talking to Lieutenant Colonel Sheehan, is it?
Yes.
I would love to get in touch with whoever your senior enlisted leader is and do some plotting.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
I think our airmen would love to learn about 6 Swifts and pave paws, right? And I bet you your airmen would like to learn about some of our intel missions.
Guardians.
Absolutely.
Huh?
Guardians. Our
Sorry.
Guardians.
Sorry, Guardians.
Yeah, so that's going to be senior bar. And yeah, I'm sure we can set up something too easy.
Great.
to make that happen.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Well, Sergeant Floyd, you've been a great guest, our first Space Force guest, so we're excited about that. And Chief Hirl, you've also been a wonderful guest. We thank you all for listening to the episode and showing up to see it. So we'll see you all again.